This week, a little-known country is making the news after clashes erupted over a contested town, and the continent's most populous nation in the West is gearing up for the big day, Election Day. We have a lot coming up in the next half hour. This is World of Africa with me, Erik Njoka. Welcome. Now, Somali authorities have over the past week been dealing with yet another mass displacement of people as conflict raged in Las Anod following intensified confrontation between Somaliland forces and SSC militias. The problem in Las Anod is that the clans have disagreed on which side to pay allegiance to. Security experts fear that the problem may distract authorities from fighting Al-Shabaab, allowing the terrorists to infiltrate the area. Here's a report about what's happening in Somaliland.
Authorities in Somaliland announced a unilateral ceasefire, but residents say skirmishes continue in and around the eastern city. The trouble is in Las Anod, a city which Somaliland and the Somali state of Puntland have disputed for years. But the city has been under Somaliland control. The Somaliland government accused clan militants of targeting its army facilities. In return, traditional elders accused Somaliland forces of invading the city and said the only way to restore peace was for the troops to leave. According to the UN, fighting has displaced over 80,000 people. Water and electricity have been cut off amid shelling. Somaliland's Interior Ministry, however, claims their troops acted in self-defense and the ceasefire announced is still holding, and that their forces were not attacking, they were only defending themselves. And they are still in their positions. Local elders in Las Anod said health centers were attacked with mortars. It is unclear which side started the fighting, but it came a day after a committee of local leaders, religious scholars and civil society groups said in a statement that they did not recognize Somaliland's administration and wanted to rejoin Somalia. In October last year, lawmakers in Somalia's breakaway region of Somaliland extended President Muse Bihi Abdi's current term of office by 2 years ahead of its expiry in November. Somaliland's history of peaceful, credible elections and democratic transition sets it apart from southern Somalia. Somalia is racked with fighting between African Union-backed Somali forces and the Al-Qaeda-aligned Shabaab terrorists. Somaliland, a former British protectorate, won independence in 1960 but days later joined with Somalia. In 1991, after years of bitter war with the government in Mogadishu, it declared independence from the rest of the country and has long hoped for international recognition. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Amid growing frustration over insecurity, oil theft and surging inflation, voters in Africa's biggest economy and most populous nation, Nigeria, will head to the polls in just 2 weeks. So who are Nigerians voting for? These are the main contenders to replace outgoing President Muhammadu Buhari. 70-year-old Bola Ahmed Tinubu is standing for the governing All Progressives Congress, or APC party. Known as a political godfather in the southwest region, he wields a huge amount of influence but has been dogged by allegations of corruption over the years and poor health. 76-year-old Atiku Abubakar is running on behalf of the main opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. He has run for the presidency 5 times before, all of which he has lost. Then we have the last one here. His name is Peter Obi. He's 61 years old. He's hoping to break up the two-party system which has dominated Nigeria since the end of military rule in 1999 and is running for the little-known Labour Party. He is seen as a relatively fresh face and enjoys support on social media and amongst Nigeria's youth. So, will any of these contenders bring or spring up a surprise? Our correspondent Louisa Olaniyi reports.
As Nigerians prepare for general elections on the 25th of February, there are concerns both within Nigeria and internationally about the conduct and management of elections in the country. To conduct the polls in a fair and transparent manner, the Independent National Electoral Commission will deploy appropriate technology to ensure that the choice made by the Nigerian electorate is protected.
when political parties concluded their party primaries, they uploaded the names and personal particulars of their nominated candidates into what we call our INEC candidates nomination portal. In other words, they use technology for the purposes of uploading the list and personal particulars of their candidates.
I think one critical thing that is different this year is the fact that there's an introduction of technology, and not just the introduction of technology. This technology is backed by regulation. That's critical, the critical mass of the change that we're going to experience in this election, because the technology, the BVAS electronic system that is for transmission of election results, which has been introduced this year.
Since 2002, Nigeria has progressively deployed technology to improve the transparency and credibility of its electoral process. This year, taking it a notch higher, the government is deploying embedded technology for the coming general election, hoping to curb any attempts of rigging. The Electoral Commission will be using a bimodal voter accreditation system to identify voters through fingerprints and facial recognition. The electoral body has also made election result viewing easy this time. On voting day, results will be pasted through polling stations and sent through BVAS to an INEC portal in the capital, Abuja. The result will be displayed on the portal in real time, allowing the public to view it as well. Official results are expected to come in within 5 days.
Everything is fine. Everything is working perfectly. Yeah, to God be the glory. Just that the awareness is poor. So maybe if we can, subsequent ones, maybe we should embark on proper awareness.
It's peaceful, as you can see. And the Ikorodu division is on the verge of delivering a credible and a violence-free election.
The new technology deployed, it will help people's the fear of is there misconduct happening? Are people pretending to be who they're not? And then also making sure votes are counted, everyone's votes. So hopefully that technology will allow people to, when the results come in, feel like those are the true and the right results.
I feel the new technology that they are going to apply is going to be so effective in curtailing cheating and all sorts of rigging of the elections. So I think it's a very good innovation and technology that they are applying this year.
The BVAS technology was first deployed during an election in Ekiti and Osun states of Nigeria. Osun saw the serving governor, Ademola Adeleke, uncle to the famous musician Davido, involved in a controversial victory. There were allegations of fraud in voting even with the BVAS technology. The matter is still in court. Analysts have expressed concern over the fact that Nigeria has a long history of electoral fraud.
We can still have a successful election. One of the problems we have had is because of the human problem, the problem of trust, the problem of lack of conscience demonstrated by an average Nigerian, is why we have begun to rely on machine to do some of the things we have ordinarily want to do. In our traditional African society, they will appoint a king. When they want to elect a king, after consulting Oracle, they will still have the kingmaker called Afobajes, who will vote. Before now, before the advent of this our contemporary period, there were no rigging in the voting of the kingsmakers. But today, anything can happen in those places too anyway.
There is no how you're going to bring a new development, something new to a system that you're not going to be experiencing something of this. What really happened in 2021, I think in the election that they did in the East, thereabouts, is different from what we are currently experiencing. That shows that we are still moving ahead. The only thing that I'm going to urge INEC is there has to be a proper training.
Since 1999, Nigeria has been conducting regular general elections following the restoration of the civilian government after many years of military rule. The 2023 general election will be the 7th consecutive general election in Nigeria. This makes it the longest period of electoral democracy in the country's history. Observers say the conduct and outcome of the 2023 polls will have far-reaching effects on Nigeria and the region's demographic trajectory. The race in Nigeria remains competitive and highly unpredictable.
Lack of trust by the electorate, human errors and manipulations of results during elections have often been the bane at Nigerians' elections. But with the signing of the 2022 Electoral Act by President Muhammadu Buhari, INEC has been given the power to conduct elections using technology. The debate, therefore, is how effective the electoral umpire will deploy these technologies to ensure that the people's vote counts as elections draw near. From Lagos, Nigeria, Louisa Olaniyi, WION, World is One.
Ethiopia's Orthodox Tewahedo Church is one of the largest and oldest in Africa, but there has been a split within its ranks after 3 bishops formed their own patriarchate they named Oromia, a Nations and Nationalities Synod, in January. Unrest, divisions and violence has led to the death of at least 30 people. So what's behind the crisis and why are bishops bickering? Let's find out in this next report. Violence erupted against a backdrop of tensions in the ancient Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church after rebel bishops created their own synod in Oromia, the country's most populous region. At least 8 people died in the attacks on a church in southern Ethiopia early February. The unity of the Ethiopian Church, one of the oldest in the world, has been under threat since last month's move by rebel clergy. The Ethiopian Church accounts for about 40% of the country's 115 million population, headed by Patriarch Abune Matthias for over a decade. It has declared the breakaway group illegal and excommunicated the bishops involved. The Holy Synod had called for peaceful protests at churches at home and abroad.
The Holy Synod has postponed the February 12th peaceful demonstration for an indefinite period of time, not because of a change of position, but because of the government's agreement and decision to solve the problem immediately within the deadline set by the Church, which opened its doors for peace. The Church has also accused the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed of interfering in its affairs and making comments that effectively recognize the illegitimate group.
Abiy, who is himself from the Oromo community, had called for the rivals to engage in dialogue and said both sides have their own truths. The breakaway bishops accused the church of discrimination and linguistic and cultural hegemony. They say congregations in Oromia are not served in their native language, claims rejected by the patriarchate. Orthodox leaders have long complained of persecution, including the burning of churches, and ties with the government have been tense in the past, including over the Tigray conflict.
For the last 6 months, I have not had any chance for the media to convey my message. I have been prevented from speaking for the last 6 months. This is because of fear and influence. I have said nothing until now. I was afraid to aggravate the case.
The Ethiopian state has traditionally maintained close ties to the Orthodox Church, to which more than 40% of the population adheres. Ethiopian authorities have previously shut down or even restricted access to the internet during periods of political unrest, including a response to protests in 2020 that followed the killing of a popular singer from Oromia. Internet and phone communications were also shut down in the northern Tigray region for most of a 2-year war that ended in a ceasefire in November last year. Oromia, home to Ethiopia's largest ethnic group, has expanded violent conflict for many years, part of wider unrest in Ethiopia, a multi-ethnic country where power has long been contested between federal and regional authorities. Late last year, Oromo people held festivals in Ethiopia's capital to denounce armed militants and government forces fighting in several locations in the region.
As I think, it is all the governments and other organs. They have to come together, they discuss the problem between them. As I think that is the solution. More than there is no solution or there is no peace that comes with the fighting or guns. So, as I think, discussion together is the solution.
Currently, there is vast repression on the Oromo people. However, the Oromo people are not surrendering to it. We are overcoming oppression and securing freedom.
The guns have now fallen silent after a peace deal signed in November last year between the government and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF. But fighting has continued in Oromia, a region haunted by a long-running insurgency. Bureau Report, WION, World is One. Let's now talk about the Democratic Republic of Congo. And no, it's not about fighting or war. Congolese are known world over for their Lingala music and exuberant dressing. This next report highlights a group of people who have become synonymous with their fashion. They are called the Sapeurs, and they are seeking a different kind of recognition. So what is the Sapeurs culture all about? Here's a report from Kinshasa.
This is Congo's capital of Kinshasa. These dandy dresses strut the streets on a regular basis. They're quite famous and popular. They have been doing this and dressing up for years. It's a fashion statement and a job for them. They're known as Sapeurs. Every February 10th, the Sapeurs commemorate the movement's founder, artist Stervos Niarchos Gashi. Gashi died in 1995 in a French prison while serving a sentence on drug-related charges. On the occasion of the anniversary of his death, the Sapeurs, most of whom are unemployed, celebrate their king.
Mr. Niarchos lived in Kinshasa and he also lived in Brazzaville. So for me, it is an honor to represent my country today with my colleagues from the DRC to perpetuate this tradition of commemorating this illustrious character who has marked us.
Many Sapeurs were on the streets to demand official recognition from the government so that they can get access to the same opportunities given to musicians.
We Sapeurs are abandoned. You only support the players and musicians. Today, you have taken musicians on tour to Dubai and Turkey. Why not us Sapeurs? We are artists. We are very efficient. We ask our government to support us 100%.
Sapeurs culture spread in the 60s and 70s in the capital city of Kinshasa and evolved to become a unique culture. The finishing touches on their flamboyant outfits may be wanting, but the Democratic Republic of Congo's modern-day dandies will even use paper to make themselves look special. The SAPE, which loosely translates as the Society of Tastemakers or Atmosphere Setters and Elegant People, was born in Congo, Brazzaville in the 1960s. But the roots of the African dandy tradition can be traced back to colonial times, when locals first encountered elegant European styles.
You can't be a Sapeur by chance. It's something that is innate. It is not a coincidence. It is in the blood. It's innate.
If you do not have good knowledge of clothing, if you do not know the colors, you can't become a Sapeur. And as for me, I am the mother of the Sapeurs.
Critics accuse the DR Congo Sapeurs of lacking quality, but there are signs of improvement. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
In South Africa, citizens have taken it upon themselves to solve the electricity crisis. Simple, innovative ideas are lighting up poor homes and bringing joy to very many communities. Our correspondent Kalden Ongmu has filed this report.
The light comes in there and it gets trapped in there. The sun is bouncing inside there. It's like light in a bottle. And it's for free because it's directly from the sun, eh?
This may not be your typical expensive solar fittings, but it is definitely a cost-effective source of light. For this, all you need is a 2-liter plastic bottle, water, and a bit of bleach. And when the bottle is placed over the roof of the house, it provides adequate source of light.
With the lack of power at this stage, the poor don't even have access to energy at all. We've come up with a very simple concept called a mandai langa, which is a bottle light. It's natural sunlight coming through directly into the homes over there and bringing natural light to everyone, equivalent to 55 watts. So we know that there are countless amazing people across the world with many ideas. And so really just creating a people's economy. It's an ideas economy, because one idea is transforming now light for absolutely everyone, and there's so many other ideas out there. Cost-wise, we've made it so simple. Anyone can get a Coke bottle, Pepsi bottle, Kingsley bottle across the world. It's designed for 2 litre. This over here has just been pressed for corrugated, but different parts of the world have different roofs. We've just made it easier. It's really just a release of an idea. It's not about the money, it's about the idea.
For most community members in this informal settlement, installing a light is a luxury. Residents say even during the day, their homes are dark. Therefore, they are forced to leave the doors open. With this innovation, they say, life will become easier.
For me, it's convenient, it's light, it brings light to the life, and if there's light in your life, there is happiness. But we appreciate it and we applaud this idea of yours. It's a great idea. Who will have thought about just a 2-litre bottle that we recycle with water and some jig? It's amazing.
I've been living in the dark for years now, and now, as you can see, I'm going to install the next one. Here's the first one that is installed. It's lighting straight to the bed, and then I'm going to put the next one by myself because I've been taught how to put it. Now I'm gonna do it. Also help the community because everyone is staying in the dark.
Rolling blackouts and electricity price hikes are becoming a major problem for South Africans. And the innovators of Amandla Ilanga say they want to spread this idea countrywide, as light from a water bottle could brighten millions of poor homes.
We just started 2 weeks ago where we released the idea. It's been coming for a while now, and we've released it to 3 major townships across South Africa. But we want to see it go across the entire nation and also into Africa and other parts of the world. We know it's been done before in Brazil, very impressed with that too, and this is just Africa's way of doing it even quicker and easier and making it available to absolutely everyone. So the intention is for it to go to everyone.
It may not be much, but people in this community have hope that there is light in the darkness, as resilient citizens are helping communities one at a time with new innovations. This is Calden Omo from Pretoria, South Africa, for WION World is One.
It's a wrap on this episode of Wild of Africa. Thank you very much for your time and for watching. Find us on all our social media platforms and talk to us there. We always appreciate feedback. I'm Erik Njoka. I will see you on the next show.